Thank you, Chris. So we made a ton of itemization changes in Warlords of Draenor, probably more itemization changes than we've ever made in any expansion pack ever. So I want to kind of take all those changes and give you guys context for what we did and why we did it. And a lot of the changes you're going to see, you've probably seen before. Probably there's a lot of changes that we announced last BlizzCon. There's a lot of changes you've seen on the forums, but I just want to give you that context for each change. But first, I actually want to talk about Frank. So Frank is a level 90 monk. He's Windwalker right now. He dabbles in Mistweaver too. Actually, I think he's a Mistweaver right now. But Frank has been pretty unlucky in a raid recently. But today is his lucky day. Everybody should be excited for Frank. Today, he finally got his 4-set bonus from his helm. So everybody give Frank a round of applause. Yes. So he kills Thok, he gets his helmet, and he's super excited to go turn that token into an item. So he somehow, I'm not sure how, he convinces his raid leader that the best thing for him to do is go get his 4-set right now. Here he goes. So he's off, he's gonna go back to town and get it. And wait, that's not town. That's Timeless Isle. It's okay. His hearth was set at the wrong spot. It's okay though. It's just a short flight over to town. He'll find the vendor. Okay. There's a long list of things here. There's a lot of different tokens with little green text, and he's got to find the right one. But Frank's a smart guy. He's got it. He's figured it out. That's his piece. Now he just needs 2 gem sockets, and then he'll be back. So he's going to go quickly to Orgrimmar. It's not a big deal. He's got some gem sockets here, or some gems he's looking at. He's not really sure which ones he wants to get. So that kind of looks like that or that or that in order to fill those slots. And then I guess he might as well get his reforging in now too, because he already did the research, and looks like his raid's getting a little angry at him at this point. They're trying to summon him. And then he'll upgrade, and then he'll be back. But he doesn't have any lesser charms right now. That's a little awkward. So I think he should probably go get some lesser charms. And I think there's only one place that one goes to get lesser charms anymore. Yeah, it's frogs. Yeah, a lot of frogs had to die. So he gets his frogs killed, heads back. He's got enough coins now for the upgrade. But he's got to redo everything that he just did. All of his gems are wrong, all of his reforging's wrong. He's going to do all of it again real quick. He'll get it through. It's okay, he's on his way back, and no one's here anymore because it's taken him probably 3 hours to do all of this. So really, what is the point of all of this? Well, the first point is if you guys need another level 90 monk, please let me know. I'm looking for a raid. I know all the fights. No, seriously. We looked at this and we said, there's a lot of work that's required for items, and we think the game is more fun if at the time you get an item, you can immediately put it on. So we're calling this philosophy, and a lot of these changes are related to this philosophy: kill, loot, equip. Kill a boss, loot the corpse, put the item on. Yeah. So the first thing we did in Draenor is raid set tokens now directly convert into items. So if you're familiar with Timeless Isle, you right-click on the token itself and it converts into the item of your class. We've also removed hidden expertise from the game. Yep. So these were stats that you really required a lot of precision for your character. You had to hit them exactly. If you were too low, they weren't good. If you were too high, if you had too much, then it wasn't doing you any good. So we just thought they weren't necessary. And we also removed reforging from the game. We had a lot of systems that required that precision of stats. By removing reforging, you don't have to min-max every single piece of gear that you get in the game anymore. You don't have to worry about it. It'll be fine. And finally, in 6.0, we don't have any upgrades. So when you get an item, you'll actually be able to put it on. You won't have to upgrade it before it's better. And the last thing we did is we focused enchants and gems on fewer slots. So that means that when you get a piece of gear, it's less likely that you're going to have to put an enchant on it or put a gem on it. Gems in Warlords are actually bonuses, so you're not going to see an item that is worse because it has 3 gem sockets until you actually put gems into it. You'll be able to just get it right away. The enchants too, it's only ring, neck, cloak that actually gets enchants now. So again, less things to do. So here's an example. This is a set token in Warlords of Draenor, and this is it. Right-click, get a cast bar, makes your item for you. So with removing reforging and changing the amount of slots, like for enchanting and gem sockets, you might think that we're not looking at stat customization as an important thing, but that's actually not true. We actually wanted to make it easier for people to customize their stats and make it less work. A lot of times in Draenor, you would get a gem socket slot, you'd have an orange or a red socket, and you'd have to put an orange gem or a red gem. Now we're letting you put all gems that you want into those slots. The slots are all prismatic. We actually have, well, actually go into a little bit. We also removed a bunch of caps and breakpoints. If you guys were familiar with all of our haste caps or haste breakpoints that we had, or hit caps or crit caps, we've removed a bunch of those from the game, so you don't have to have that precision anymore. You can choose the stat that you want to choose. And we wanted to use existing systems. We didn't think that removing reforging and then replacing it with its own system that would do a similar thing. We already had a bunch of systems in our game that were bonus systems, like cooking, like jewel crafting, like enchanting. So why don't we use those to actually let you customize your stats rather than relying on a different thing? So in Draenor, actually cooking, all the best food in the game is secondary stat. So if you're looking for haste, mastery, crit, multi-strike, any of those will actually be a food that you can make. All the gem sockets are now all pure secondary stats. So if you have a prismatic socket, you can put crit haste gem or crit haste mastery, multi-strike, I think, and enchanting too. It's the same way. So here's an example of what those look like. So this is, if you actually like crit, you can have crit food now. You can have, you can put all of your gem sockets as crit because it's a prismatic socket, and all of your enchants can be crit as well. So the third thing we wanted to look at was making loot more useful to your group. We saw a lot of cases in Mists of Pandaria where you would have an item drop and no one in your raid could use it. You may not have a Holy Paladin, you may not have a Resto Druid, and every time those items dropped, it was kind of a feel-bad moment. You may have worked really hard to kill this boss, and then you didn't get the actual reward on the other side. So we wanted to address that, and these are all the changes that we think help that a lot. So main armor slots now have dual stats. So that's all plate, mail, leather. They will automatically switch. If you can wear plate, you can wear this piece of gear, and it has the appropriate primary stat for you. We also separated role items from armor type. And Chris hinted at that, early on in his presentation, about Spirit, that there's actually less slots for Spirit. But from our side, that was really good too, because we don't have to drop specific tank plate gear anymore. We don't have to drop Spirit leather gear anymore. Spirit comes off of the separate jewelry items, and your main stats on your main armor pieces work just fine. And we also combine dodge and parry into one stat, so you don't have to worry about dodge tanks and parry tanks anymore. Bonus armor works best, and it's your best secondary stat if you're a tank. So you're just looking for that one thing for all tanks. And finally, set bonuses now swap based on spec. So if you have your 4 set for Holy, you have your 4 set for Prot or Ret, whatever you want. And the really cool thing about that too is it kind of allows us to do the token that I was talking about earlier. When you right-click on the token, it doesn't matter what spec you're in, it doesn't worry about your loot spec at all, because there's only one item for all your specs. So this is an example of dual stat. So this is plate legs that dropped, and they have intellect and strength on them. And based off of who you are at the moment, which spec you're in right now, it'll actually change that stat. So if you don't have a paladin in your raid, that's fine. These pants are warrior death knight pants as well, and ret prot. And finally, we wanted to look at the variety of loot in the game. We thought there was a lot of times where you weren't surprised in WoW, and we wanted to reward you for doing a variety of things in the game. We also wanted you to be surprised every once in a while when you got something. So we really increased the sources of loot in Draenor, especially for questing and level up. So before, a lot of your gear would be from quests. It would be all quest reward gear. Now you can get gear from quests. You can make a lot of gear from professions. You can do garrison missions. You can do, at endgame, you can do garrison invasions. There's a Pexus crystal vendors. We just wanted to expand where you got loot from. Additionally, quest items can now upgrade to be rare or epic. So you'll see a green item as a quest reward, and as soon as you get that item, it can just randomly roll to be a rare or an epic one, which keeps that constant sense of surprise and excitement to the game. And we looked at the system. A lot of you are familiar with the Warforged or Thunderforged system that we had in Mists of Pandaria. We really wanted to expand upon that in Warlords of Draenor. So we added a bunch of bonus effects to items that when they drop in raids. So even if you have a piece of gear already, that gear could drop and could be better and still be an upgrade for you. So, which gives you that sense of every boss you kill, everything you do in the game can have an upgrade. So the bonus effects specifically are prismatic sockets can go off of, can randomly show up. The item can still be Warforged. We kept that system around. Or you can get a tertiary stat, which are avoidance, speed, leech, and I don't remember the last one. And finally, we have two new secondary stats, versatility and multi-strike. So versatility is increased damage and healing, and also decreased damage taken. We really like this stat because it means that there are some raid encounters, if you're taking a lot of raid damage, this is a great stat for you, even if you're DPS, because it may help your healers out. Multi-strike is a stat where when you hit, you have a chance to hit 3 additional times afterwards. So I want to walk you through real quick. So this is actually my beta character right after Shadow Moon Valley. So in Mists of Pandaria, this would probably look like all quest gear. Like every single slot would be a reward that I got through a quest. And you can see that I have, probably about half of my slots right now from quests. I actually had 2 different slots that upgraded. So I got a helmet from a quest reward that randomly rolled, used to be green and now it's epic. And then I also have a pair of rare pants. And then from a garrison mission that I did, I have a ring. And I had some rare creatures and special events that happen in the zones. If you remember Timeless Isle, there's a lot of those cool creatures that you kill or like events that pop up. Those are all through the questing experience in Draenor, and those can also upgrade. So you can see like overall my character has a lot of variety, a lot of different, purple, green, blue, plus a lot of different sources. And finally, this is looking at the bonus stats. So this is the same chest, plate chest, and the second time it actually rolled with Warforged and a prismatic socket attached to it. So you always have that constant sense of there could be something here when I kill this guy. And so all in all, we feel like these changes will make Warlords a much smoother